Good morning, students. In today's class, I will explain about two different concepts, friend class and how pointers and objects are used in a C++ program. In our last class, we learned about friend function. A friend function is a non-member function, but still can access the private data of the class. We studied the features or characteristics of a friend function. Some of the major characteristics of a friend function are: a friend function is a non-member function. A friend function does not come within the scope of any class, but still it can access the private data of the class. A friend function has to be defined only outside the class. A friend function can access the private data through the object which is passed as argument, and the friend function cannot be called with object name. Instead of that one, a friend function is called just like any normal function. And we also studied how friend functions are used in the program with some simple example program. In today's class, we'll be learning additional program on the friend function concept. We also discuss about friend class and how pointers and objects are used in a C++ program. In my last class, I gave an assignment for you to solve to find the total balance of two different accounts using friend function. Anyway, I am explaining this program in today's class. Create a class called current, which includes account number and balance as member data. Use another class saving, which include account number and balance. Using friend function, find the total balance of both the accounts. Here we have two different classes, current class and savings class. Current class also has private member data, account number and balance. Savings also has the member data, account number and balance. But a friend function, you have to write that function should access the member data of the both the classes. It has to access the balance of account current class, and also it has to access the balance of savings account. So hash include iostream.h, hash include conio.h. These are the two header files. Next we start with the first class. But what happens here is, first I am defining current class. But within the current class, we are writing the prototype of the friend function. There we are passing two parameter, current and savings. So we are anyway defining the current class. So at the time of defining the current class, savings is unknown. So savings is also one class name. That's the reason we have to mention class savings in the beginning. So such type of reference, we call it as forward reference. So we are just indicating to the compiler that savings is a class name that I'm going to define it later. Let us start with the first class. Class current, private int account number, float balance. So the two private member data of the current class are account number of integer type, balance of float type. And the two member functions are read and display. Read function does not accept any argument and does not return any value. So the prototype is void read. Similarly, display function does not accept any argument and does not return value. So the prototype is void display. But the friend function is total balance. The friend function, as I told earlier, can access any private data through the parameter you're passing as an argument. So here I am passing two parameter, current and saving. Current is also one class name and savings is also one class name. That means for total balance function, you have to pass two objects, one from current class, other one is from savings class. So that function, what it will do is, it will fetch the balance of current class and also fetch the balance of savings class and add them together and return the value. Since the balance of both the classes are float type, the return type is also float type. So friend, float, total balance, current comma savings. So now this class has only two member function, read and display, whereas the total balance function is a friend function. So that function you have to define it inside. We have to write the prototype of the friend function both in current class and savings class. Now we define the two function read and display outside the class. We already know how a member function is defined outside the class. Return type is void. Class to which read function belongs, current. Scope resolution operator read. The purpose of read function is to read the current account number and the balance. So C out, enter account number and balance. C in, account number and balance. The second function is display function. Again, the return type of the display function is also void. Class belongs is current display. And the purpose of display function is to display the account number and balance of current account. So account number of the current account equal to ACCNO and balance in the current account equal to balance. Now we have defined the two member function of the current class. But don't define the member function of the, don't define the friend function total balance here itself. Let us go to the second class. Class savings. Again, this class also has the same private member data, account number and balance of int and float type respectively. This function also has two member function, read and display, but the purpose is here is to read the account number and balance of savings account. Display function is to display the account number and balance of savings account. Again, the function total balance is a friend function. Since it has to access the total balance of both accounts, the prototype of that friend function should be mentioned both in the current class and also in the savings class. Just similar to your previous program, in the last class we have discussed about husband and wife class. So there the friend function name is total. So friend, float, total balance, current comma savings. So the prototype of the friend function is common both for savings and current class. Now we have to define the friend function. We know how to define a friend function. Friend function you should not attach with any class because it is a non-member function. Straight away start with the return type. What is the return type here? Float. Function name is total balance. And you have to pass two objects, one object of current class and one object of savings class. So these are the two member functions of savings class. Void saving read function, just similar to the read function of the current class. Next, again you have to define the display function, which is similar to the display function of the current class. But the thing is, here the read function is to read the account number and balance of savings account, and display function is to display the account number and balance of savings account. Now we have defined the two classes. We have defined the member function of both the classes. Now we have to define the friend function, which is common for both the function, both the classes. Float, total balance, current C, comma, savings, yes. So C is an object of current class, S is an object of savings class. The purpose of that function is to add the balances. So return C dot balance plus S dot balance, return the value, and return value will be floated. So here, since it's a friend function, you should not attach with the class name. Now start the main function. Void main, current C, savings S. So C is an object of current class, S is an object of savings class. What you have to do here is, you have to call the read and display function first with C, then with S. So enter the details of current account, call the C.read function. Enter the details of savings account, call the same read function with S object. Now again, call the display function with these two objects separately. Details of current account, C.display. Details of savings account, S.display. Now what happened there? Now we have to call the friend function. Total balance in both accounts equal to, straight away I can call it. The function name is total balance. One object C, second object is S. So you are not supposed to call total balance with any of the object. So only object you have to pass it as an argument. So this is a third example illustrating the usage of friend function. Now we'll give you one more example illustrating friend function, because in C++, friend function is a very, very important concept which is unique in C++. So program to check whether a given date is valid or not. So if the given date is valid, the function returns 1. The date is invalid, the function returns 0. How do you know whether the given date is valid? For a date to be qualified as valid, the date part should be between 1 to 31. Month should be between 1 to 12. Year should be greater than or equal to 1. Okay. And if it is a April, June, September, November, then the date part should be less than or equal to 30. And if it is March, May, July, August, October, December, the date value should not be more than 31. And the next one is, if it's a February and it's a leap year, in that case, date value should be maximum 29. Then if it's a February, not a leap year, in that case, date value should be less than or equal to 28. If any one of these conditions is fails, means it's an invalid. Let us see how it works. Class, date, private, int dd, mm, yy. So dd, mm, yy are the three private members of the class called date. All of them are integer type. Read date, the purpose is to accept the value for dd, mm, yy. Write date, that is to display the date in date format. We know how to write the date. Date part, / month part, / year part. Next, you write a function called check that accept one object of date class. And if the given date is valid, it returns 1. the given date is invalid, it returns 0. The return value from the function is 1 or 0, means return type is int, and you have to prefix with the keyword friend, indicating that it's a friend function. Now we have to define how many function? 3 function. Out of 3 function, read date and write date are member function, and check date, check function is a friend function. Read date function. So return type is void, class name is date, read date function. The purpose is to see in dd, mm, yy. I think we already studied this example in our previous sessions. Next, second function is write date, void date, class name, scope resolution operator, write date, cout, dd slash mm slash yy endline. Now we have defined the 2 member functions of the class. Then you have to start the friend function. What is the return type of the friend function? Int. Function name is check, and the class name is date. You have to pass one object called d as a parameter, because a friend function can access all the 3 private member data through the object, but here it will give only one object. Int. Return type is int. Check date d. So now what happens is dd, mm, yy, which are the private member data of the class called date. Now the check function can access any of these 3 using d. So every time if you want to access dd, mm, yy, you should write it as d.dd, d.mm, and d.yy respectively. First, if d.dd less than or equal to 0 or d.dd greater than 31. If any one condition is true, it's an invalid. Similarly, month part should be if it is less than or equal to 0 or greater than or equal to 12, then also it is invalid. Or year value, if it is less than or equal to 0, then also it is invalid. So if any one these condition is true, return 0. What is the meaning that return is 0? Return 0 means invalidate. Else, go for the month. The month is 4, that is April, June, September, November. In these month, the date value should not be greater than 30, because maximum number of days in this month is 30. If it is greater than 30, then also it invalid, return 0. Else, if d.mm equals to 2, it's a February, d.yy percentage 4 equal to 0, it's a leap year. In that case, even though February leap year, date value should not be more than 29, because maximum 29 can come. If it is greater than 29, then also return 0. Else, if d.mm equals to 2, that is February, d.yy percentage 4 not equal to 0, that is not a leap year. In that case, d.dt greater than 28 is also invalid, return 0. If all these conditions fails, mean it's a valid date, else return 1. It's a very simple example illustrating friend function. Now you start the main function. Void main date d. D is an object of date class. Enter the date. So call the read date function with d dot read date. Display it. Given date is d dot write date. Then you call the function called check date. So here you can see check is a friend function. So you can directly call it with check, but only within the parenthesis you have to pass the object called d. If when you call the check function with d as an object, the function returns the value 1. What is the meaning? It's a valid date. Given date is valid. Else cout. Given date is invalid. So in today's class, we learned about 2 more examples of friend function. Next, we'll study the concept of friend class. So far, we have studied about friend function. What happens if the class itself is friend? If you make the entire class as a friend, then automatically all the member functions of the class becomes friends. Whatever member function are there within the class, they all become friend function. So illustrate. So also here I'm using 2 different classes. So first we are defining the class called PME. But within that class, I'm accessing the class called PMCS. That's the reason I mentioned the word called class PMCS at the beginning, forward reference, then class PME, private, int, num student, number of student, that's an integer type. Then you write the first function, read. The purpose of read function is to input the value for num student. See in num student. Then within that class, instead of mentioning the friend function, we are mentioning a friend class. Friend class PMCS. So the PME is the class. Within that one, I declare a friend class called PMCS. Next, we start class PMCS, public void display. Anyway, friend class, friend function, you have to pass one object. Here I'm passing the object of PME class with the object called P. Then cout P dot num student. Very simple example. Then void main PMCS P1, PME P2, because PMCS is a friend class. So PME is the outer class. So PMCS P1, PME P2 means P1 and P2 are the 2 objects of PMCS and PME classes. Then what you do is P2 dot read function and P1 dot display function, because display function we can call it with the object of PMCS class, which is P1. So P1 dot display within the parenthesis, because the PMCS class accept one argument of object which is belongs to PME class. So within the parentheses, you pass the object called P2, which belongs to PMCS class. So this is a simple example illustrating friend class. In the examination, if the question is on write a note on friend class, means you write what is the purpose of friend class and give this example itself, because it's the simplest example illustrating friend class. In our C programming and also in data structure, etc., we studied what is a pointer. A pointer is a variable which can hold the address of another variable. So if you have an integer variable, the pointer for that one must also be of integer type. If you have a variable of float type, the pointer to that variable is also float type. Similarly, if you have an object of a particular class and you want to declare a pointer for that object, then the pointer also must belong to the class to which the object belongs. So we know that member function of an, how do you access the member function of a class? The member function of a class is accessed using the object name dot operator. But it is also possible to access the member of any object via pointer to that object. So one straight way of accessing the member function is object name dot the member function. Instead of that one, you can call the member function through pointer. Pointer also must belongs to the same type as the object. When a pointer is used, instead of using dot operator, we are using arrow operator. So suppose D is a object, read is a member data. If you're using dot operator, the syntax is D dot read. If P is a pointer for the date, then in that case to add it, call the read function and write P arrow mark read. So the difference between accessing the member function through the dot operator is object name dot member function name. For accessing the same thing using pointer, then pointer name arrow operator member function name. So a pointer to an object can be declared in the same way as declaring pointers of other type. If you're declaring integer pointer, means int a comma star p. If you're declaring a pointer for float variable, means float b comma star q, etc. Similarly, if you want to declare a pointer called p of date type, means then you declare like this: date d comma star p. So d is an object and p is a pointer for the date class. Let us illustrate with some simple example. Class data. Here the class name is data. It has only one private data called x of integer type. Then public void set int a. So this belongs to the category of function with argument without return value. Return value is void. The function name is set. Inside the bracket, you pass one parameter of integer type a. Your member data is x. What you do is, whatever value you are sending as a parameter, you assign it to x. Very simple function. And void display the value of x. The purpose of, instead of read function, I'm using set function. If you use a read function, then we have to use the statement C in x. Instead of that one, you pass some parameter. Whatever parameter you're passing, let it be assigned to the member data x. So this class has how many private data? Only one private data called x. How many member function? Set and display. Set function belongs to the category of function with argument without return value. Display function without argument without return value. Next, void main data. The object name is d, comma, the pointer name is star p. What you do here? The address of the object d, you store it in p. This is a way of initializing the pointer to hold the address of the object. So generally pointer is used to hold the address of a variable. But here you have declared p as a pointer to the object called d, means. So you have to, now p should hold the address of d. So p equal to ampersand d. Now, I will call the set function with dot operator. The syntax is object name is d dot set with the parameter 10. Now what happens is the 10 will go to the variable called x. So x value becomes 10. Next, you call the display function with pointer name. See out value equal to p arrow mark display. So that is the difference between accessing the member function through object and accessing the member function through pointer. If you're accessing the member function through object, means it is object name dot member function name. If any arguments are there within the parameter, parentheses, you have to specify the argument. If you're accessing the member function through the pointer name, then pointer name arrow operator the function name. So in this example, I will illustrate both. One member function I have accessed it through dot operator. Another member function I have accessed it through arrow operator. But before calling the member function through the pointer must be initialized to the address of the object. So that's the reason I mentioned P equal to ampersand D. So now P holds the address of D, where D is an object. So some of the review questions based on today's class are: illustrate with an example friend class in C++. Illustrate with an example accessing member function using pointer to the object. You can give the same example. Now we'll try. I want you to try these two programs based on the today's class. Using friend function, add two matrices, and also using friend function, find the sum of n natural numbers. A simple exercise. Try to do it. Otherwise, I will do it in the next class. Let us take some simple multiple choice question or true or false question based on today's class. When a class is made friend, all the member functions are friend function. True. The correct answer is A. Identify the incorrect statement. A class can have any number of friend functions. True. A class can have any number of objects. That is also true. A class can have only one friend function. That is false, because inside a class we can have any number of friend function. For friend function, any number of objects can be passed as argument. In the example we have considered, for some friend function I have passed one object. For some friend function like current account and savings account, I have passed two objects. So the incorrect statement is C. In C++, both function and class can be declared friend. True. The correct answer is A. Which operator is used to access member function through pointer? Just now I have completed. In order to access the member function through pointer, you have to use the arrow operator. The correct answer is C. Correct syntax of calling member function through pointer. The syntax is pointer name, arrow operator, function name. The first one is object name, arrow operator, pointer name is wrong. Object name dot pointer name is also wrong. Pointer name dot function name is also wrong. The correct answer is pointer name, arrow operator, the function name. If any arguments are there within the parentheses, you have to specify the argument. Okay, students, in today's class, I explained the concept of friend function with some additional example program. One is to find the total balance of two accounts. Other one is to check whether a given date is valid or not. We also studied the concept of friend class. A friend class is nothing but if you make some class as friend, then all the member function automatically become friend function. And we also studied how a class is defined, how member functions are defined, how objects are created, and how pointer is declared for the object, how the pointer is initialized to the address of the object, and how we can access the member function of a class using pointer and also using dot operator. With this, I will conclude today's class. If you have any doubt, for any of your doubt or clarification, you can call me over that number or send your queries to my mail ID, or you can also post your comment in the comment section in the Google class, so that in the next class, I will try to clear all your doubts, or at least in the Google Meet class, I will try to clear all your doubts. Thank you.